for these two farms after this Hurricane Teddy, having a look at the containment infrastructure and looking for the quarter markers that are still there, that all the gears within the lease. Looks pretty good. I can see the site markers.
On an annual basis, fish farms are required to conduct monitoring at least one time. Industry, typically they hire third-party consultants to conduct that monitoring that's required by our regulations. Our role is to oversee that program and ensure that they're following our methodologies.
Today we are out at the McNutt's Island Aquaculture site doing what is called the Environmental Monitoring Program. The EMP involves going out to the aquaculture sites here in Nova Scotia and collecting sediment samples for later sulfide analysis in our lab. And the sulfide analysis gives us an idea of what the quality of the environment is like at that time. All of our data is proprietary to our client, however, they have no input in what the data actually says in the end. DFA runs the EMP program. They are the lead for all of this work. We're just a third-party contractor for that. They'll often come out and audit us as well to make sure that we're following their standard operating procedures to the letter. And they're involved through the entire process. Our reports are submitted directly to them. All of the data goes directly into their hands and they make the final call on how the site is looking.
We're a team of 5 here. We're all located in Shelburne. We also administer the Farm Management Plan program as well as the Environmental Monitoring program. When we get the environmental monitoring data back, obviously industry gets that as well as regulatory bodies, and it helps inform subsequent production plans for that site and how many fish that the environment might be able to hold while managing the environmental impact. It might also feed into fallowing requirements, so how long that lease needs to remain fallow in order for the environment to recover before fish can go back on.
They're definitely under a lot of scrutiny to make sure this is done properly. There's a lot of people watching to make sure that there's no changes, no deviations. We want to make sure that this is done the same way every time so that there's no question to the validity of the data sets.
Science informs everything from how we collect samples to what parameters we look at, how we analyze the data. Science informs how we look at projections for future production and use that environmental monitoring data in those projections or modeling activities, and continuously improve the program, and it is meant to change over time as science and technology evolves.
Kevin, our first bottle is going to be at 20 meters depth. What we do is we lower this device, but this is a very tricked out one that, as well as conductivity, temperature, and depth, it measures the light, it measures the oxygen, and it takes water and measures the fluorescence in the chlorophyll absorption band. This is a series of measurements that are exactly the same as ones that are made at hundreds of sites around Atlantic Canada.
We first formed the fish farm in 2011, and we had a partner, and then we went on our own in 2015. We purchased a fish hatchery in Wolfville, and we also had purchased a property in a building off the reserve that we turned into a processing plant. We also purchased an arena that had gone under, and we turned that into one of our warehouses. That way we can control basically the whole cycle of the fish. We consider ourselves stewards of the land, eh? So everything we do moving forward is going to be based on science, environment. It's been a great boon for jobs for our people. They don't have to, before they had to go out west looking for it, but now the work is here. We can create well-paying jobs without having to destroy the environment. Because like I said, we want to leave something for our children too.
There are some measurements here that are higher than measured in any other marine water body in the world. It's the reason that we are focusing on this site, but we didn't really know those things when we started here. When we started in 2009, this fish farm wasn't here. It was an obvious site to look at. The case could never be made that it was fish farming because there are a number of measurements dating back as far as the 1960s demonstrate that below a certain depth in this basin, the water is inoxic. The discoveries we are making in this basin are demonstration of the value of long-term programs for understanding how our oceans are going to be changing as human activities change and as anthropogenic climate change proceeds. When you're finding something that's different, you have measurements from before it was different and you have something to compare it to.
Our people have a great sense of pride working there because they know that they have ownership of the fish farm. Because it's owned by the community, they have that sense of ownership that they're working at their business. All in total, during our peak season, we employ between 80 and 90 people. And also, our people are being trained by experts on how to do things better. It's our nature to ensure, as we move forward, that everything that we do is in line with, protecting the environment. We don't want to leave them a world that has nothing.